So this is going to be a body language analysis of a video that the Minnesota shooter left online. And if you want to understand all the details of this tragic shooting, go to my Power Pundit channel where I uploaded the full recap of this. Has to do with Tim Walz, has to do with the representatives of Minnesota and a fatal shooting. I'm going to leave you the link in the description so you can see the recap of all the case and all that Tim Walz, all the hate rhetoric that Tim Walz has pushed and ultimately has led to this. What happened in Minnesota? I can give you a very brief timeline of events. Vance Luther Bolter, who we are going to analyze right now, former appointee of Governor Tim Walz, allegedly impersonated a police officer, carried out targeted attacks on Democratic lawmakers in Minnesota, killing one of them, Melissa Hortman, and her husband, killing 2 people. Walz condemned the attacks as a politically motivated assassination, but then people found out that this guy was an appointee to one of the governor's wars, and more information is popping up. Data Republican, Vance Bolter, the suspect in today's shootings, was the CEO of an international NGO called the Red Lion Group, but I couldn't find any photographs or digital records of its work, only a generic website. The Red Lion Group appears to have run out of funding a month or 2 ago, and that is when he started looking for executive-level roles. And we also have this. Screenshots from suspected Minnesota attacker Vance Luther Bolter's public LinkedIn before it was taken down. Fourth image shows he indeed volunteered for the governor's workforce development board in Minnesota. Tim Walz has a lot of explaining to do, and this is the video that he left. This is like an introduction video of what he does, what he's good at. He has worked in quite some funeral homes, apparently. Let's see. Let's watch.
Hello, my name is Vance Belter. I just go by Vance. No other names that I use. I live in Grinnell, Minnesota, about an hour away from the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. I'm affiliated with 2 funeral homes. I work full-time for Wolf Funeral Home, which is an intake location for about 6 funeral homes. And we also do all the intake for the National Cremation Society and the Neptune Society for all their cremation customers as well.
Well, my first impression when I saw this video is this guy is rather unassuming. It's like the perfect nobody. It's like the person that you would never think, is this guy somebody who can actually, snatch a police officer uniform? He was in full police officer uniform. It was driving an SUV that looked exactly like a police SUV, and use that uniform to pass as a police officer, enter these people's houses and shoot them in cold blood. I mean, the way he speaks, his appearance, his physiognomy from this angle, in this way, it's kind of unsettling, precisely because of that. This is a Joe Schmo. It's like the perfect nobody.
Well, so I mainly do removals at this point.
Okay, that is creepy.
So I work at Wolf full time, and then I also work for another funeral home called Metro First Call, and they also do traditional removals at nursing homes, assisted living apartments, but they also have contracts with medical examiner's office. So like one contract is the Hennepin County Medical Examiner's Office. So we'll do removals, which we're working with a lot of police officers and death investigators.
Okay, that would explain how he hang out with police officers, and maybe that's the way that he could get a police officer uniform.
At the location where a decedent is found, could be a crime scene or just a natural death.
He has a lot of single shoulder shrug. He has done that many times. I don't think that he is lying at this point. I think that he's just giving like a resume or something of what he does.
And our role is to just take the decedent from that place of death to the medical examiner's office. And so between those two locations, I'm working about 6 days a week. What else here? Family and pets. I have a wife and 5 kids, and we have
You have a wife and 5 kids. All right. So
2 pets, German Shepherds. Fun fact about myself, I've been in the food industry about 30 years, and that led to an opportunity. I was invited to the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is located in Central Africa. When I was in high school, the country was called Zaire. That's a little bit more familiar with people, but it's the largest, second largest country in Africa, right in the middle in the center there, and was asked a couple years ago to go and see what I could do for ideas on helping their food supply system. Their population is about 100 million people, and they import 80% of their food currently. So some of the food companies I worked for in the past were Farm to Fork, like Del Monte Foods and Golden Plump Poultry, where we did everything from at Del Monte, we planted the products to harvested them.
again, this guy is speaking. It's almost boring. He's talking about this thing that he does in a way that he wants to make it interesting, but it is not interesting at all. And my question is actually, you can sometimes tell by physiognomy, by demeanor, by the way that they talk, who can become radicalized and who, well, it's not that common. It's a bit more difficult to believe that they became radicalized. But if this guy is the actual suspect, it is really unsettling that this guy could kill in cold blood, because it's absolutely, yeah, I think the word is unassuming. It's you wouldn't tell that this is an assassin, a murderer.
To process them and then shipped them out. In Golden Plump Poultry, we had our own hatcheries, grow out barns with the farmers, and then processing plants. So between those two companies, I have some experience with agriculture. And so over in the Democratic Republic of Congo, I had some ideas they thought were pretty promising, which the company I was working for at the time wasn't interested in doing anything in Africa. So I talked with my wife, and we decided I just put in my 2-week notice, and we just go off on our own to try to do these projects to help out in Africa. So we're doing farming and fishing projects in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And to help pay the bills, I just started working at a funeral home because the shift worked good for my schedule with the other things I was doing. And that led to some classes at DMAC, which led to this course. So just learning more about the funeral industry. And I think that covers everything. And I will look forward to seeing you in class, and we'll go from there.
So yeah, it was some kind of teacher, I guess. It was an introduction to that. And again, a very boring introduction. If this is your teacher, you wouldn't say, yeah, this is guy with if he is the most interesting part of his life is going to the Democratic Republic of Congo. Okay, that's okay, I guess. But if this is the suspect, and if he did what he did, this is really disturbing. So to make it even more unsettling, I'm gonna copy and paste right now this here. His wife also worked for Tim Walz. So this is a thing that is unfolding as we speak. Again, most of what Tim Walz has pushed people to do is on my video on my Power Pundit channel. WTF, it seems as assassin Vance Bolter's wife, Jenny, also worked for Tim Walz. She worked for him in Washington, D.C. in the early 2010s while he was a congressman. The connections to Walz go way back. Yeah, this must be investigated. Again, this is unfolding, and I would like to know what you think about this in the comments. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Body Language Guy. Much love and this.